Here's somehow again Nijisanjis in hot water. I don't really know the entire details of the situation. It really seems like almost every big VTube corporation right now is falling apart, rightfully so. I've been telling people for years how fucking shady and scummy they are. It even appears that VShojo is falling apart at the seams. And I'll be real, guys. In the next 2 months, they're gonna lose another member. It's gonna fucking happen, right? I'll be real. I don't even know who's left in VShojo at this point. Nijisanji's losing people left and right. Controversy follows this company left and fucking right. Man, imagine being a VTuber, am I right? I know, right? Let's keep going here. Let's see what's going on this time.
Guys, we're here. So we're going to be once again talking about Nijisanji because they have another huge controversy facing them at
Surprise,
the moment.
surprise.
So for those who are not super familiar with the VTubing scene, Nijisanji is a very big agency that has a Japanese branch that is very successful and an English branch that is much smaller, that is always filled with controversy.
Yep.
And a lot of that controversy has to do with the management in the way that they are very inconsistent with how they apply their rules and how they treat their...
Who's that sound like? Yeah, it sounds like when companies have rules and they don't apply them equally amongst all their creators, controversy is very soon to follow. That's crazy, right? That's crazy, right? I know. That's wild, man. That's wild.
Talents.
That's
if you're one of
wild.
the people on the inside,
Wonder why.
you're going to be treated with a lot of favoritism. If you're on the outside and you're not liked by management, they're going to treat you absolutely terribly.
Yep.
And today's story really highlights all of those issues. So, we're going to be talking about Aster Arcadia.
Here we
You
go.
can see his account is already private. Not a good sign when you're a Nijisanji Ian liver. Now, Aster has faced a lot of controversy involving really one big accusation. So about 7 months ago, False ID came out with this video with a whistleblower who we now know is the former Nijisanji Ian liver, Twisty Amanozako.
Okay.
Where she said that there's allegations that Aster was sexually harassing not just Twisty, but other women in the organization, as well as small independent VTubers.
Now, I will say, I really don't give a fuck about allegations or accusations whatsoever. I really feel like weaponizing allegations and accusations is a very slippery slope, because then anybody can say anything and ruin anybody's life. Now, if there's grounds to it, that's the interesting part. Let's say.
YouTubers outside of the organization. Now, this got enough heat that eventually Nijisanji, shortly after, would announce they were doing an investigation looking into not only Aster, but also the whistleblower. Again, we know who she is now. But of course, a lot of time would pass. In fact, it's been 7 months since that investigation was launched, and there hasn't been a single update.
Okay.
And well, guys, I regret to inform you, it looks like we're not going to get that first cooking stream from Aster that was scheduled for next week. In fact, if he's going to be doing a cooking stream, it might be teaching people how to make prison toilet wine at the rate he's going, because he has been terminated. No, wait, I'm sorry. He is separating from Nijisanji. That's right. You can see the announcement here.
Ooh, that's very interesting. That verbiage does lead people to have a lot of questions. Because if it was terminated, they most likely found something. Separating means they have come underneath mutual agreement to go their separate ways, and there's no bad blood. So yeah, I do think there are people who need some answers for sure.
And if you are familiar with Nijisanji, you will understand that this is the shortest announcement they've ever made about a talent leaving their agency. So,
sure.
It says, announcement regarding Aster Arcadia. We hereby inform you that Aster Arcadia will be separating from Nijisanji Ian as of July 15th, 2025, and will not resume streaming activities.
Okay.
Please refrain from directly contacting our livers about this matter. Thank you for your understanding. So, right from the beginning, we have this weak-kneed, pathetic statement and use of the term separating. Like they're going through a divorce or something, right? You know what? Let's take a second here and use that term separating. I think the right move would have been to hear what people like Twisty were alleging.
I have some things that I want to weigh in on this. So this being different is very hard to weigh in on. Now, I know that when I left OTK, I said, we don't need to talk about it. We don't need to make a big deal out of it. I kind of just want to go my own separate ways. I'll say I left. It's really that easy. And I'd appreciate if you guys just kind of let me do my own thing because they know that I didn't fucking do anything wrong. You know what I'm saying? But obviously, I mean, people still took the me leaving OTK as in he was forced out. He was forced out because they know it's true. And it's like, no, that's just like not how it goes. Another instance of the internet being absolutely fucking retarded. This to me can lean either way. This to me honestly makes me think more so, unless Nijisanji is incredibly shady, this makes me think that they didn't find shit. Because if they did, you got to understand from a corporation's perspective, no corporation is ever going to put the needs of an individual amongst the safety of their own company, unless it would open them up to being liable for damages. And I understand that Niji is very shady, but I don't think they're that stupid. You know what I'm saying? Especially for like an ex-employee now at this point. Can we watch anyone else other than this horrible man, Techie? I got no issues with Rev at all. Yeah, this is very, very, very... Oh, yeah. I can see why a lot of people want more answers to this.
And then separating Aster from new VTubers, particularly female VTubers, who join the organization. That's what they should have been separating. Also, they probably should have been separating their mouth from Aster Arcadia because I do not understand the favoritism. They went to bat for this guy so hard, and I just don't understand why Nijisanji just will do anything to protect some of their English talents. When I look at Aster's channel, right, he's been with the company since 2022. He has 300k subs, and you look at his about here, and he's produced 14 million views in 3 years with the company. Now, I say this not to flex or anything like that, but if I joined some sort of organization, they said, Rev, go, try to get as many views as possible, stream on YouTube, do all that, I could probably amass that in a month or two.
Sure.
So I don't understand. Again, it's not a flex. I just don't understand why...
I could get 14 million views in probably about maybe a week or two. What Rev is saying, though, is that this guy is so small, he gets barely any views. Why are they going to bat for him so hard? Makes me feel like, I mean, once again, there's been no proof so far, so maybe they just didn't find shit. Yeah. Maybe they didn't find shit.
Nijisanji is fighting for their lives to protect someone like this with so much baggage. I just don't get it. Their Japanese branch does not deal with anywhere near the amount of controversy the English branch deals with. In fact, the Japanese branch probably makes about 80% of the revenue, so I don't understand why the EN branch is so dysfunctional and there's so much controversy. Now let's go back to the announcement itself. So there's one thing to really point out here that I already mentioned, that it's...
Some guy in YouTube chat says there's a ton of proof. I haven't seen any of it yet. So if you want to link me, feel free to. I haven't seen any of it.
Such a short announcement regarding someone who's probably one of the most controversial figures to ever come out of their company, right? Just a few sentences. Normally with Nijisanji, every graduation / retirement announcement / termination announcement comes with a long-winded Twitter post with typically a couple pages of documents to go with it. Let's see some examples. So we have Selen Tatsky, who was terminated about a year and a half, 2 years ago. She was someone who is now returned to her past life account, Dokibird. You probably heard of her. She was someone who went through a very, very rough time with the company. She spent over $200,000 of her own money to fund projects.
Damn.
Nijisanji management refused.
That's a lot of money.
And she was someone who was bullied from within the company to the point of attempting her own life twice. And she would be eventually terminated around the time of those attempts because what did she do? She released a music video without full approval from Nijisanji because they left her basically on red for an extended period of time.
Dokibird got fucked over hard. She did.
The music video live.
That was fucked up.
Was the
very fucked up.
Remember, she's a victim in this situation, but she was terminated, not separated with, terminated
Absolutely.
For this song's release. And she got not only this statement here, she got 3 pages. 3 pages of statements.
Yeah, no, she got fucked over so hard.
Think about Aster Arcadia getting just a brief paragraph. On top of that, they got so upset about the backlash that they received because of that termination that they brought 3 of their biggest talents on the English branch together to do a black screen live stream where they basically just threw her under the bus. They made up complete lies about her and even admitted that they had access to her medical records for some reason. And as you can see, didn't go over well. 33,000 likes versus 179,000 dislikes. And the funniest thing is, the cowards at Nijisanji management, they couldn't even release it on their official channel. Instead, they made one of their talents, Alira Pandora, release it on her channel, and in the process, she lost nearly
Nijisanji, EN is a social experiment? Yeah.
In fact, she was
for a company that makes the worst choice every time? Absolutely.
Later, and she still is at 523. That was the damage done to her account, but I can't feel sorry for her because she was one of the people who threw Dokibird under the bus in the statement. And let's move on to another example. Zion Lanza, she has returned to her past life account as well and had great success as Sayu. Now, she was someone who was terminated after 3 months with the company, just 3 months, but she got all of this. This was her termination with a long list, basically treating her like a war criminal. All of these reasons were included for her termination. They did all this for someone who was with the company for 3 months. In fact, there's a very interesting section right here. Offensive remarks regarding discrimination and sexual, or SA. You can't say that phrase on YouTube. They really don't like it. But
you can't say it, really?
Offensive remarks regarding discrimination
I wonder
and
why.
SA. And in her case, no, this did not involve allegations involving real people or anything like that. It was comments she made about a fictional character that was just assaulted in a video game.
That's crazy.
And when that happened,
no, that's insane.
They threw the hammer down on her instantly.
No, that's crazy.
They
When these people have more compassion for characters that exist in an anime than real people, the logic just goes out the window. So does all my respect.
just part ways and don't even give a reason as to why. And here's the final example I'm going to give. We already mentioned Twisty Amanozako. She was the whistleblower sharing the allegations that include not only alleged sexual harassment she received, but also other people in the company received, and also some people outside of the company received. She was given a very short termination announcement about a month ago, and they refer to instances of discriminatory speech. That's now 2 people in this video who have had this standard used against them to terminate them. And this had to deal with a now deleted and re-uploaded leaked call from Discord where she said some edgy, controversial stuff, and they used this as an excuse to fire her because they couldn't fire her for being a whistleblower. This came out, and they said, here's our opportunity, let's fire her, and that's what they did. So another person who was an alleged victim being terminated, not separated from the company, terminated. Okay. And a lot of people looked at the reasons she was terminated as well as Sayu/Zion, and they go, what about Uki Violet? Uki Violet is someone who is also a favorite in the company who gets very preferential treatment. And as you can see right here, he has a long history of saying things like, white men, straight white men, are irresponsible and selfish. There was no response for that one, no investigation, no statement, no nothing. In fact, there is a near 6-minute long compilation of Uki Violet saying, quote unquote, jokes about white people. Nothing's ever happened to him. What happened to those, that standard?
Yeah, that's because nobody gives a fuck about white people, man. It's the same thing with Indians. Let's just be real. Nobody gives a fuck about them. They just don't.
Of discriminatory statements. What happened to that? It doesn't apply because he's one
The
of the
internet
favorites.
does not care.
Now, going back to the original statement once again.
Now, if you were to say that about black people, yeah, people would freak the fuck out. Yeah, but like, I'll be real. Like, nobody has any sympathy for white people or Indian people. They just don't. Right? They're punching bags of the internet.
And here's Aster's statement. And you probably wonder, why now? Why are they doing this after 7 months of this investigation, 7 months of inactivity on his accounts? Why are they doing this now? Well, the theory out there, the one I agree with greatly, is that Aster Arcadia's contracts probably ran out. And they're using this opportunity to say, well, we can't renew with you, so let's just part ways. And they do that to have this separation language. They're separating because the contract ran out. There's no actual...
I just really feel like if a company could score an easy dub that was in the dumpster PR-wise, they would have just said terminate. I really don't know why they would go to bat for this. And that's why I also, too, want answers. Right? Like, Nijisanji has had so much bad press. Like, this should have been easy. Like, they probably should have even lied and just threw him under the bus just to save face a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, that's what a company would most likely do. This is so confusing to me.
Foul move on anyone's part that they're citing here. They're just saying the contract ran out and we agree to go separate ways. That way, Nijisanji doesn't have to talk about the investigation or anything else or give a reason.
Okay.
They can just say they separated, they parted ways because the contract ran out and they didn't want to continue, and both parties amicably walked away. That was a very sneaky move and one that I'm pretty confident was the reason that they did this. Now let's take a look at some of the quotes and replies because nobody's having this. Even some of the stronger Nijisanji fans who normally blindly support the company no matter what, they got an issue. But let's look at some people just roasting this statement. Beginning with Mugen, saying Japanese airlines profits plunged 95% now that their biggest customer has stopped flying out, trying to fly fans to meet him in a hotel room. Yeah, that was kind of his one bullet in the chamber type move. That was it. If you see the conversations and the things alleged, that's pretty much what you do. You approach a smaller talent who claimed they were a fan of his, and you'd be like, yeah, you're a big fan of me, huh? Big fan of me, huh? Let me fly out to Japan and we can share a room together. And it's like, oh, okay. And then when you get rejected, he would get very angry and start like really getting hostile, which, by the way, this is pretty much the only time in my life I've on.
Guys, I'm going to be so real. Okay, let me ask you a question. Do you guys think it's a problem when streamers fuck their chat? Like, do you guys think it's wrong when a streamer fucks their viewers? Guys, you'll never guess what they do at TwitchCon. You'll never guess. I mean, guys, there are people who are banging like 6 to 8 viewers a day at TwitchCon. Straight up. I mean, that shit's a fucking sex fest. Oh God, I know. I'm just being real, right? Like, yeah. I still don't know where the sexual harassment is coming in at. I still haven't seen it yet.
Ironically use the phrase incel. This is a guy who doesn't really know how to talk to.
Speaking of TwitchCon, do you think you might go this year at all or not? If I were to go to TwitchCon, and I am actually considering it, a lot of things would have to change between now and then. Yeah.
Women, and he's trying to exercise, allegedly,
But most likely no.
his status to get them to do things for him.
99% no.
He flips out. He gets angry. I mean, that's an actual a fair use of the phrase incel. Unlike, all the people on Twitter who use it to describe anyone they dislike, this seems like an actually appropriate way to describe the situation. But here's a comment from Parrot. Oh, poor Parrots. Saying they actually just waited for my video to come out to finish the job. Well, back to the mines, dude. You need to farm once again because they always have the worst timing for you, unfortunately. Here's Rima saying we want the investigation results, saying release the Aster files. Yeah, let's release the Epstein files
absolutely.
while we're at it. What a terrible situation. But yeah, this is kind of the sentiment a lot of people are saying. So if you're going to do this, we want to see what's going on with this investigation. Nobody's going to forget what happened with this. You can't launch this big investigation and then separate with this talent and act like, oh, well, okay, that's over. No, people are going to be asking about this forever. In fact, they're going to be asking even harder now. There's literally no reason not to share this stuff. He's not with the company anymore. But anyways, here's another one from Legal Mindset saying, terminated him the same day I stopped by the Nijisanji building. Coincidence? He's not joking. Here he is aura farming in front of the Nijisanji headquarters in Japan. Absolutely mogged this company. Man, he shook them and they folded.
Yep.
Quick. But here's another one.
That's
saying,
so
I wish
funny.
I still had my Niji EN merch so I could set it on effing fire. Okay, this person has to be blocked. They probably don't want to listen to anything I'm saying, but don't burn merch. I've always said this. If you want to get rid of stuff for someone you don't like anymore or a company you don't like anymore, you should consider donating it. Because if someone's in need, especially with clothing that comes from a company, they're not going to care if there's some disgraced weirdo on the hoodie, okay? If they're cold, they want a hoodie, right? If some kid's, in need, I don't think they care about the plushie, like where it came from, okay? I just think that's something good you can do. Donate it. Don't burn merch. I don't think it's a very smart decision to do.
Absolutely.
Here's another one saying, so, can I claim his design now? No. Well, maybe, but I don't know why you'd want to do that. I don't know why you would want to have the likeness of Aster Arcadia. But then you have this, the Niji sisters, I'll say, are trying to stop the community notes.
Niji
so whores. Are trying to provide context as to why this is a very fishy and complicated situation.
That's so funny.
And yeah, you can see in the no note needed section, this is the section of the notes where you dispute proposed notes, where you say, that note's not necessary because of X, Y, or Z. And they're fighting for their lives in the no notes needed section, saying everything's abuse of the community notes, and this can't be based on vague or uncertain information, and post does not hide or dispute because people are saying this is trying to hide results of the investigation. But some of the proposed notes, they're trying to add context that there's an investigation, that there was allegations from former talents, and it gives additional context as to why this whole separating of these parties.
I didn't know that this was even a thing. I'm glad there's a way to battle community notes because there are a lot of community notes that are heavily abused, like heavily abused community notes. So this is great. Okay, I didn't realize they were like a little bit more moderated than I originally anticipated.
Is very suspicious. Now the memes are already coming out. You can see we'll expect this to happen when you ask Nijisanji about their investigation into Aster from now on, where basically they're going to say, are you still talking about Aster Arcadia? Because this is probably what's going to happen. They think they can wash their hands of this, and whether or not something comes of the investigation or not, well, they promised they were going to give updates, and they've given none. Like, not even like, oh, it'll be coming to a close sooner. We got some sort of nothing. Not a tiny grain of update. And even in the announcement of the separation, they never mentioned the investigation. They could have said, we're separating ways, but also the investigation continues on. They didn't do that because they thought they could get away with this. And I got really bad news for them. I don't think people are going to forget so easily. But anyways, that is the situation involving Aster.
My issue with this is that 1,000,000%, I believe, if someone launches if someone launches an investigation, right? If someone launches an investigation, they should absolutely provide updates to that investigation. But from what I've seen, I have seen nothing but accusations and allegations. I haven't seen any proof whatsoever. I'm not saying that there's not any. However, if there is any, I would love to see all of that. And I would love to follow up on that when that is presented. Yeah, I mean, I'll be the first one to say this guy is a piece of shit, obviously. I think people should be a little bit, do their due diligence. And when saying this guy did this horrific shit, just make sure to link that and show that to make it easily digestible for the viewers. But that's just my opinion. You know, even a smidge of proof, yeah, absolutely. I can understand people wanting the results of the investigation, and I think people deserve the results of the investigation. However, I don't want to damn someone off of speculation. Once there's proof, I believe innocent until proven guilty. Yeah, which, you know, should be a common mindset in 2025, but I suppose it's not. I'll still wait to see the actual proof before I go in on this guy. That's just my opinion.